I will get us started. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Welcome to our homes. I'm Sonia Friedel, president at BrainSell. We're a HubSpot partner and really excited to be working today with Zoya, our account manager at HubSpot. And Zoya, you've been with HubSpot, what, for over 3 years?
3 years. Actually, now over 3 years. 3 years and a few weeks.
Love it. Congratulations. So today we're going to be diving into the amazing topic of email marketing versus marketing automation. When is just email marketing not enough? And Zoya has some amazing content that we're going to walk through in PowerPoint. And then we're going to go into a live session showing a tool called HubSpot. So hold on for that. We just got a few kind of educational things to set us up in the very beginning here. So housekeeping, it's actually going to be a 60-minute presentation. So we talked about that. We'll give you guys 30 minutes back. 60-minute presentation today.
If you want to stay on for like Q&A, then that would be that little overtime. But
yeah, yep. Put your questions in the questions box, please, if you have any, and we'll field them during the session, especially as the demo goes on. Don't hold your questions back. Put those in the box and we'll get to them. And this is being recorded, so you will get a copy of this for follow-up in your email inbox shortly. And we also just want to start it off, I think, with introducing us, and then we'll be doing a poll. But let's actually do the poll first. Oh yeah. Let's do the poll. We always like to just get a feel for who's on the call and what your status quo is right now. So I'm going to launch a little GoToWebinar poll here, and a launch. Please let us know what marketing systems your company is currently using. It's a multi-select, so you can do more than one. So email marketing would be like MailChimp, Constant Contact. What is that? Emma, is that still around? Oh yeah, I think that was one.
I haven't heard it in a while.
All right, great.
You guys use that one, but
yes, and it looks like we are pretty evenly split here. A little bit of halfsies. Email marketing and marketing automation.
Poll question.
I love the poll questions. Okay, fantastic, guys. We are an even split between email marketing and marketing automation. Really cool. Two more poll questions. This will be great. Next one, just looking at how big you guys are. This gives us a good idea how big the companies are that are on the call today, and we can see the feedback coming in. We've got some interesting splits here. I'm going to hold back the results from you, Zoya, for a second here. It's very interesting. Yeah. Yes. All right. Okay, guys, we're about to close this, but we've got 20% in small business on the 1 to 5. We've got 30% with the 6 to 30. Just a lonely 10% and 31 to 100, and then 40% of you have 100 plus employees. That's great to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Final question, I swear. And are you actively looking to replace or implement an MA system, which could be why you're here. Maybe you're here to learn, which we love. And
both is good.
Both are great. And yeah, we've got an even split between yes and no at 30% and then 50% maybe. I love that. That's why we threw that in there. All right. Fantastic, guys. So thank you so much. Give a little flavor for who's here today, and that's really helpful for us. So yeah, let me introduce myself. Again, Sonia from BrainSell. But who is BrainSell? We are just north of Boston on the North Shore. We are a growth enablement company, which means that we're really looking to help companies of all sizes grow and scale, more importantly, with the use of technology and process. So that involves a lot of different things. It can be software that we put in place. It could be people that we help and processes that we create. And we specialize in, first of all, consulting to see, what you need and what your strategy is, maybe even help you guys lay out a tech roadmap, tech strategy that will help you get to your 5, 10-year goals, even 2-year goals. Data science, implementation of CRM, marketing automation, customer service apps, accounting software, and even cutting edge AI, machine learning technology. So kind of do it all because we believe that everything in business is connected, which is really going to show today in the presentation. So there are ways to make all these systems sing together and really create a nice cohesive business environment. So Zoya, please introduce yourself.
I've been practicing my crown wave. Hello, everybody.
So
hi, my name is Zoya. I'm a principal growth specialist with HubSpot, and I'm the Cam lucky enough to get to work with the BrainSell team over here for the last over 2 years now out of my 3 that we've been working together. And yeah, we've just, as we started working more and more together, we realized that there's so much that between, Sonia's world in having so much experience across all the technologies and our world in HubSpot, both in HubSpot and just in inbound marketing. And we really took it upon ourselves and how can we really spread more knowledge and teach more of our shared customers and everybody else around some of these tactics. And so everything that we do is mostly like, here's a tactic for everybody. And if you want to use HubSpot, great. If not, there's other tools you can use for it too. We just want to make sure that you're taking the right steps to help you grow, really, at the end of the day. And then of course there's also that little part of, if you do need some tools that are a little bit easier to use, we're always going to be here to help. But no matter what, we want you to have something to take away from today. So a lot of this is going to be more generic, and then for those that want to stay for the live demo at the end, you can hang on to the very end. Promise it won't be boring. All right, so if we're all good, let's jump right in.
yeah.
Email marketing versus marketing automation. When is email marketing just not enough anymore? So before we go into all of the answers, or it's going to be a lot of question and answer. Like I'm going to be kind of giving you, here's the questions to ask yourself, and here's what to do with the answers of kind of depending on where you're at, what to do with that information. But before we even get to that point, let's first make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to what we're actually talking about. So email marketing and marketing automation, not the same thing. A lot of people think that it's the same thing, that if you're using MailChimp, then that's marketing automation. In reality, it isn't. So email marketing is actually more of a batch and blast technique. So a single path where oftentimes the same email is sent to lots of people at the same time with few things more than their name personalized, right? So think your newsletters, your email blasts, your seasonal updates, your promotions, your, here's what's happening this quarter that we want to update everybody on. Oftentimes not too segmented. So that's one of those more generic ones. Marketing automation, on the other hand, it's behavior driven, right? So it's a behavior driven omni-channel marketing strategy that sends adaptive customer-centered messaging at the right time based on proven and demonstrated interests. So a lot more advanced on the marketing automation side. And yes, it does typically cost more money, and we're going to talk about all those different things and why, what the benefits are of each of those. So when you're looking at, an ESP, something like, Constant Contact, MailChimp, you're basically just sending emails and tracking opens and clicks. When you're using a true marketing automation platform, there's a lot more moving pieces. There's a lot of pros and cons to that too, right? Having all those moving pieces, it's more work, more money. We're going to dig into all of that today. But it is a completely different strategy, and it really is going to tie back to what you're looking to do with your organization. So we'll definitely be talking about that. But to kind of kick things off, right? So now that we are hopefully all on the same page about, email marketing is more of a, it's company driven, right? It's really, I am doing a campaign. I'm a marketer. I'm doing a campaign, and my goal is to launch this campaign by Friday, right? Marketing automation is the customers or your prospects, they're engaging with you. And so we're tracking those behaviors and sending them the right content at the right time. So company centric versus customer centric. And I'm sure it's some way, shape, or form, you've all seen this sort of journey, funnel, right? Whatever you want to call it, this flow of somebody who starts by not knowing who you are, what you have to sell, what you're doing, or how you can help. And as they start to learn about you, right, as they engage with you more, and then eventually the goal at the end of it is how can we turn that person that started as a stranger and hopefully purchased, and then how can we turn that purchaser into a promoter for you? Right, so this one kind of journey isn't actually as simple as that one journey of, oh, I start by not knowing who you are and then I turn into a promoter, right? In reality, there's actually a ton of behaviors, actions, all sorts of things that are happening behind the scenes as a prospective customer is learning about you, right? So it's anything but linear when we're looking at the reality of this. It's really a very winding road, right? So they might hit your website and fill out a form, but they're not going to fully engage with marketing. And then sales might pick them up and then move them through a bit of a process and start to qualify them, but the timing isn't right for them to buy. So then they might live on your social media, and then they might go into email a little bit more. So they're going to be all over the place. And really just, the more education you can send them, the more value you can provide when you are starting to bring up that conversation of selling services, right? So even looking at this whole mess of a journey, we have email marketing on here, right? There is a component, and it's a very, very important component. And there's a lot of statistics that prove that email marketing is a very great way to start a conversation. However, email marketing is one part of this whole puzzle, right? So really, if you're only looking at that, what we're going to see is you're going to be missing a lot of other important data that can help you to make better decisions. So to do this all effectively, this whole thing, this is where the marketing automation truly comes in. So some of you at this point may be asking, oh crap, I had no idea there were so many differences. How do I know if I need to make a change, right? What am I doing here? How do I know which one is really going to be right for me? And in some cases, email marketing is going to be more than enough. So marketing automation is not always going to be the only solution or the best solution. There's going to be times where email marketing is going to be more than fine for what you're looking to do. It's going to be more than enough for growing your business as how you want to grow it. But today we're going to look at these 5 core elements of how to think about this, right? How to weigh those decisions of, do I need just an ESP, email service provider, or do I need a whole marketing automation platform? So 5 core areas you want to think about is, first of all, the state of the union, right? Your goals for that future growth, the length of your sales cycle. We're going to go into all these in more detail. The complexity of your sales process, your audience pulse, right? So kind of how engaged, how educated are they, and your available assets and the analytics associated with your growth and strategy. So I'll start with the state of the union. All right, so where are we today and what are we trying to do? So here's just like some questions to start asking yourself. And so let's start digging through like what it means to, or what the benefits, pros and cons are going to be of each. Right, so for example, are you looking to manage your database or scale it? Right, so the simplest way to just kind of start thinking about which one do you really need is, if you're looking to manage your database, email marketing is typically more than enough, right? Think of a real estate agent that, I have 100 clients and I just need to manage my 100 clients. I just need to communicate with them. I don't care about hiring 10 more people. I don't want to open up another office. I just want to manage my database, right? So email marketing, perfectly great for that. However, if you are looking to scale, right, that's really where that customer-centric behavior is going to make all the difference in how you're providing your messaging, building those relationships, and also better time to value, right? Accelerating some of that growth. How big do you want to get, right? That's what we're talking about there, is if you're only, again, trying to, it's going to be much more manual, really, is what it comes down to. Email marketing is a much more manual process. We're going to dig into that some more. And so scaling can just be slower. So if you have 100 customers, you need 5 more, no big deal, right? If you have 1,000 customers, you need 500 more or 1,000 more, it's going to take a lot more time, energy to really do that sort of thing manually. So then how quickly do you want to get there, right? What is that line for you of, I don't care if it takes me 10 years. I'm starting out. This could take a while. It could take 5 years. I don't care, right? I'm just doing this because I enjoy it. And if I grow naturally, that's fantastic. However, some of us are going to be a little bit more aggressive in the, I want to hire a team, right? I want to open up another office. I want everybody to know what our company does, and I want to have swag, and I want everybody to know about, and I want to be, because by the end of the year, because maybe something from COVID opened up a whole new opportunity for you to really capitalize right now, right? Maybe a competitor went under, maybe you have a new something or other, could be a new software, new service, new solution that could be really perfectly timed right now. Right? So if you're really looking to take advantage of, unfortunately, a very terrible situation, it's not something you may want to necessarily wait on, right? Because if you're only going to be doing marketing, email marketing, that could really slow down that time to value. So all of these components, right? Like sometimes it could be very straightforward to do things manually, right? If you're only working, like if you have one person that is responsible for all of your marketing, right? And that one person has to do all this manual, it's going to be a lot of work. However, if you do have a whole team, right, and you may not have the machine to do the automation, but you have a team that, this person's in charge of social, and this person's in charge of email, and this person's in charge of your SEO, and everybody's working together in some way, shape, or form, but they all have their own swim lane. Like that's another area where, if you have one person, that machinery, that technology can really help save them a lot of time, right? If you don't have the budget to hire another person in-house, the tech may actually be cheaper. It actually almost always is cheaper than hiring a person that you have to pay insurance for and overhead and all that other good stuff. So, right, it's all those kind of weighing those pros and cons, right? And at the end of the day, it's really looking at, how many resources are you ready to devote to your growth, right? It's not just the team. Is it one person? Is it 5 people? Is it 20 people, right? It's coming down to your time, right? Are you willing to do this yourself? Do you want to delegate this to an outside agency, which by the way is also typically going to be cheaper than hiring somebody in-house because again, you don't have to pay for their insurance. So are you going to delegate this? Are you going to do this all yourself? Or are you going to have a machine that is able to do all this for you and really follow those behaviors, make it much more straightforward and, here's what's working and just do more of this, right? Instead of having to do all that manually. So if you have the time and money and you're really eager to grow and it's going to take resources. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. Either way, it's not easy. Growing isn't easy, right? And no matter what you're doing, it's not going to be a no-brainer. So really, it's how motivated are you to do this? All right, so that's kind of the State of the Union recap of really what to think about, how to start going through this process. So the next component, right, is first of all, if you decide I want to grow, great, I want to grow, or maybe you don't, maybe you're just fine, just it's your retirement job, or you're just happy as you are and you're not really looking to, be the next Elon Musk, and hey, neither am I, but I want a house, I want a boat, like who doesn't want a boat at least, right? So different levels of motivation there. So the next part here is really the complexity of what we're doing. Right, so the length of your sales cycle especially. So is your typical sales process take more than a week? Right, so really that comes down to, is it transactional or is it more considered of a sales process? Because if anything takes more, our attention spans are about this big, right? What do we have? 2-3 seconds at best of attention span. We're inundated with over 10,000, 4,000 to 10,000 ads a day, right? So everything is, I don't know how every single person doesn't have ADD these days. Like there's just so much overwhelming content. So if it takes, like if I'm walking into your store and I'm buying this mascara, then great. Like I may not need marketing automation to go buy this mascara because typically it's not something I'm gonna be really thinking about too long. I'm just gonna walk in and purchase it. However, if we're getting solar panels, that's not something I'm gonna walk into a store and purchase. That's gonna take a lot more research. And so that research is really a core part of needing marketing automation, right? So we're going to dig into that more, but essentially that email marketing, it's good for promotions, right? Hey, 20% off mascaras for Black Friday. Awesome. I'll get 5, right? No brainer. I'll take the 5. That's not a lot of money. It's great. However, if it's, hey, solar panels, I don't care what discount you're offering me. Like I need to understand, is it going to be good for my area? What's the long-term implications of this? Are there pros and cons to doing solar? Is it going to hurt my home value because they're ugly, right? All those different things that are going to weigh in that decision. And it's not just a matter of a yes or no, I need to learn about it. So that's going to make, anything over a week, you want to be sure that you are following them, staying top of mind. Seasonality, right? That's another one where if you have any dips, peaks or valleys over the course of the year, right? You don't only want to be leveraging any sort of, whether it's any sort of marketing, right? Email or marketing automation, you don't want to only do that when you don't have business, right? And really that's something that I hear back in my days at TripAdvisor. I used to hear that all the time from my hotels of, oh, well, we're full right now, so we don't need any marketing help. I'm like, great. Awesome. Yeah, you're full. It's July. Of course you're full. Do you have a plan for October? And they're like, no, October is our quiet time. Like, okay, well, did you ever think that if you start promoting now for October and you plan ahead for that growth and for having those rooms filled, then maybe you won't have those massive peaks and valleys where you have to hire people and then lay people off and then hire people and then lay people off, right? It's harder to plan for your forecasting, for that growth, for your investors' ROI, right? All those things to consider that, email marketing is great if you are only open 3 months a year and that's all you want to be open. But if you are open year round and you're still getting those peaks and valleys, marketing automation just helps to really identify if somebody is ready now, even if it is in your off season, they could be researching for the season ahead. So it allows you to just follow them in their journey so that you're always staying top of mind for when they are ready to purchase, even if it is a few months down the line. Kind of already touched on this one. Is it more transactional, substantial consideration, right? So having more of that research. How many touch points are required before someone's ready to purchase? Again, mascara, you don't have to convince me. If I ran out, I'm going to buy more. But if I'm not sold on those solar panels, right? And there's a lot of, tax implications. It's going to help with our billing and also other great stuff. Like it may take some follow-ups, right? Or if you're selling a service, right? Like let's say agency services, cleaning services, pick any service, there's a lot of competition for what you do, right? And that's where we're going to touch on that a little bit too. Like if you're a very, very niche company, sometimes email marketing may be a little bit better. We're going to go into that more, but with having all these touch points, doing that manually can be exhausting, right? So having that automation tool that's tracking those behaviors and is able to see how I move from an email into your website, into your social channels is going to help you to send better messaging to me when I'm really needing to see it. Right, so the longer the sales process, the more you're going to benefit from marketing automation, right? You don't want to have to remember or remind your marketing team to be the ones to really have those, like, oh, well, especially in smaller companies, when you have, a very, very small team, typically the marketers are your salespeople in a lot of ways, right? They're the ones, it helps ensure consistency of messaging. It helps ensure, especially if you don't have all the heads, it's typically just, oh, I'm responsible for growth. I make my own marketing and I'm the one that does the sales, right? So when it is a smaller team, you have to have more attention to every moving piece, every detail, right? So having that sort of balance of larger companies, more processes, more products, more moving pieces, managing that manually can really, really slow down your growth. So the complexity of the sales process. How easy is it for someone to purchase your products? All right, so it does go back to that research, but it also goes back to, like, so if it is a niche industry, right? A very, very niche industry where you're maybe one of two companies that does this, like this particular gold trim. I have a bunch of random crap on my desk. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep pulling up random things to show. So this particular liquid gilding. So like this, like there could be maybe only one or two other companies that make this particular gold trim. So if I'm in the market for, gold trim, I'm gonna know this is the one company. There's maybe one other one. So in those types of situations, you may be okay with email marketing because there's not a lot of competition, right? It's, you kind of know that you're one of two options and you have your customers, they have theirs, and that's fine, right? But if you have a lot of competitors and there's going to be always, an opportunity for you to fall behind or be kind of pushed out of the way, then having that, consistent follow-up, so you're always reminding them that you're there, the difference between your products and the competitors, right? And leveraging that sort of content to help educate more of your audience, you're really going to see some better conversions. Right? It also really helps if you have a wide variety of products or services, right? So if you sell one thing, all we sell is this mascara, then email marketing is fine, right? You're going to be okay because there isn't, if I ran out, I'll repurchase, especially if you're one of only two companies that does this, I'm going to come back to you. That doesn't mean that you should sacrifice your customer experience. That doesn't mean you should sacrifice your customer support, because when those types of niche companies get too comfortable, that leaves room for a new up and coming startup to come in and say, hey, these two companies up here got too comfortable at the top, and I'm going to come in and disrupt this whole marketplace. I'm going to disrupt everything that you're doing, and I'm going to win on customer experience because I know both of your customers aren't happy, right? That's what you want to avoid. So if you can be one of those niche companies and you can have the best customer service experience, you may even kind of not only drown that other one out, but also probably prevent other ones from sprouting up in those gaps that you're leaving open, right? So if you have that wide variety of products or services, what that also is going to be really important is don't assume that your customers know what you have to offer. Don't assume. Assumptions kill deals. And that happens all the time. Like at HubSpot, for example, people always used to know us for just marketing automation. That was the only thing we were ever really known for. And our 15-year anniversary is like next week or soon. And so people only ever knew us for marketing automation, but we've had this really great CRM for years, and we've had sales tools, and now we have the website tools, and we have Operations Hub, and we have a service component, so we have all these other parts. But people still think HubSpot is just marketing automation. So even in my own customers, it's always a, oh, hey, we're looking at Salesforce or we're looking at something else. I'm like, why? Did you know you have this here? Sometimes you even already have it for free. People don't always realize that. They don't know what they don't know. So if you have a wide variety of different products, different services, if you're actively trying to cross-sell and upsell, tracking that buyer behavior is going to much better help you prepare for identifying the right time to surface that other product or service in front of them when they're ready for it. All right, so if you're not effectively cross-selling or upselling now, that's probably because you don't have those triggers in place. if you want to upsell and cross-sell, right? So time is money. Don't wait for your customers to go somewhere else, right? Don't wait for them to try to cancel you because they found somebody else that can do more, right? The more proactive you are with not just saying like, hey, we do everything and we'll slice your bread and clean your house. Like, you don't want to be too annoying or upfront about it, but you do want to just gently kind of nurture and just stay top of mind, like, hey, here's another thing that we just started offering, or based on your usage of this product or service, other people like you have also benefited from this additional product or service. Maybe here's a case study, here's a customer reference, right? Kind of leading them down that path so that you're teaching them how to grow with you, how to better benefit from you and what you can do together. Right? Do you have a sales team that's responsible for selling your goods or services? So those sales teams, if the marketers are the main salespeople, then it's going to be harder for them to do that manually. But especially if you have a larger sales team and you're working, especially B2B, there could be multiple consultations, multiple touch points, multiple people that you're talking to, right? The biggest challenge with email marketing is it doesn't really give you good lead scoring. And we're going to chat about that more in the analytics, but it's only showing you a little piece of that puzzle. So without good lead scoring, how can you tell your team who to follow up with, right? If you know, like, hey, this person has, they haven't just opened an email, but they also downloaded this brochure and they hit 5 pages on your website, and you should call them right now, right? That's going to be much more valuable for a salesperson like myself to hear, hey, this person was just on your pricing page after downloading this resource. I don't care that they opened an email. I want to know they took an action to follow up with that. Right? Do you engage with a few different people? So having all of those different touch points, right? You don't want to send redundant messaging. You don't want to send the wrong level of messaging for the audience, right? So if you know who's who and you know all the important people, right? And you want to be able to track those behaviors and be able to identify who is engaged. Maybe the influencers are most engaged, but the decision makers aren't, right? So email marketing, again, just shows you such a small portion of that journey, and just seeing opens and clicks doesn't tell you their job title, their involvement, what they're actually doing in their organization. Just tells you that they clicked a link, and not the behaviors that led to that and how you can take that information and bring it forward to a sale. And also different processes, right? This is a pretty big one, because think about like renewals, for example, right? Very easy example with renewals. If you're doing this manually with email marketing, right? You can sequence somebody, hey, here's your reminder, your renewal's coming up, right? You know they're going to get a drip, or you could be doing this manually, or you could be doing a little slow drip, right? And then they reply, and then, okay, great. Oh, they replied. Okay, they're going to renew. So I have to take them out of this sequence and put them into this sequence, right? And so when you're using just an ESP, you have to do that manually. You have to take them out of this list, put them in this list, and now they're going to be getting the renewal confirmation, or just, great, we don't want to annoy you. You already confirmed you renewed. We're not going to get these last 2 emails. Now we're going to put you down this path, right? It's just to even remember to do all that and to stay on top of it. Again, if you have 5, 10 people that are responsible for this, great. If you have one person that's only using manual tools with email marketing, it could be really slowing them down. And where else could they be spending that time, right? In growing and generating more content. So conversely speaking, right, on the marketing automation side, the same scenario with the renewals, right? You have all these different campaigns, and yes, they can be very complicated, but they talk to each other. So if I take the qualifying action in one workflow or automation, it'll send me to the other one right away, right? And then it can unenroll, re-enroll people as needed. And I just have to make sure that the right guardrails are in place so that people aren't kind of leaving or going down paths that don't make sense. So as long as I'm just managing those guardrails, then everything else is going to be managed for me in the actual scale and conversion path. So audience pulse, really what I mean by audience pulse is, first of all, their attention span and their kind of how educated are they around your products or services, right? So do they know what they need when they come from you, right? This kind of goes back to that niche industry example. So if you're a niche industry and you only have one product or one service and everybody comes to you, then the people that are coming to you are probably already pretty educated, right? They already know, okay, like it could be, engineers that need particular parts or materials. Like that's typically where I run into that a lot in like those sorts of industries where, this one material or this one gauge that only we make and everybody has to come to us because we have this particular pressure gauge, whatever it is, right? So all the people coming to them, the product people, the spec people, they're already educated. So they may need a little bit more, spec comparison, but it's not going to be a lot of content of what this thing does and what it's for. So things like that, Email marketing is great, right? You don't need to necessarily spend all the money on marketing automation if everybody's already educated. You don't need too much content, right? It's going to be just more of a placing an order or RFPs. Whereas industries where you do have those competitors and oftentimes uneducated buyers, and I don't mean uneducated like they're stupid, I mean uneducated that they just don't understand the value of your services or how they're different from your competitors. And that's nothing against your customers. I think that's kind of everybody, right? You don't know what you don't know. I work at HubSpot. I've been here 3 years, so I know all the things about HubSpot. But most people that come talk to me, they don't because they haven't been here as long as I have. They haven't seen every scenario, right? And I understand that. And so it's my job to say, hey, I've seen many other people in your situation. I know exactly, what they've dealt with, what happened next, what we can do for you, right? So it's really up to me to teach them about all those different challenges that they're having and how to think about that growth. So if you are in that sort of industry where there could be more competition, right, could be much easier for you to have that marketing automation that's providing that steady stream of educational content, always helpful and relevant. So it's kind of nurturing them a little bit until they're ready to speak to you about more of the definitions. Right? So those competitors, it's not just a matter of, is there somebody else that can do this and how many options are there? But are they providing more helpful content than you are? Right? There could be 50 different options, but if nobody's marketing, then it's up to the customers. But if one of your competitors is really, really, really good at their blogging, at their social, they're super engaged, they're building that disruptive customer experience, then you could be falling behind, right? So even stalking your competitors a little bit is going to be a really helpful way where you can like there's tools to even see what tools people are using, like built with, so you can even do some slight corporate espionage on your competitors. See, are they using marketing automation or email marketing, right? If you see some of your top competitors are using marketing automation, that could probably tell you why they're one of your top competitors and not one of the guys that nobody else knows, right? Do they need to be reminded to re-engage with you, right? If something that you're selling could be expiring or it could need refill, maintenance, repurchase, renewals, right? Anything like that, you want to just be, again, top of mind, always making sure that you're checking in every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Hey, have you already used up all of the mascara that we sent you? Do you need more? Do we need to be on top of that, right? So just staying that, again, manually, if you're doing that once a year, it's customers, it's a company centric, right? We have a promotion, we need to push this product, versus inbound or marketing automation. That was a Freudian slip, but an appropriate one, is more inbound, in that it's tracking those behaviors and then bringing them into the flow of your business. And also, this is a really big one, right? Variety of platforms. The world, I mean, internet was a big deal 20 years ago, and now there's all these social platforms, and now we're moving into like virtual reality. I have some customers that are doing that. Like, it's just evolving in so many different ways. And so having all these different platforms, like, you get so much more information from seeing how somebody moved from your LinkedIn page, went to your website, filled out a form, attended a webinar, maybe talked to sales, then came back to another blog, right? That's telling you a lot more about their journey instead of just, oh, I sent them an email, they opened it, and then 6 months later they bought. Cool, all right, 6 months. They opened this email, so I know they bought because they opened this email, right? That's assuming revenue. It's not attributing revenue, it's assuming revenue. So really, the more you want to understand your ROI, where to spend your money, why to spend your money there, you're going to need that in-depth customer data that goes beyond just your website, goes beyond just your email, right? It's going across a variety of different platforms. So the more that you can collect that data, the better you can invest the marketing dollars that you do have. All right, so the last part to really think about is available assets and analytics, right? So as we're moving through, do you already have a lot of content, right? So again, if you're a small company, not really looking to grow too aggressively, very, very niche, not too content heavy, right? Maybe a little bit more comparison stuff, you're fine with email marketing. However, if you have a product or service that needs content to really be differentiated from the alternatives, right? All the different options, different competitors, right? If you already have content, events, webinars, ebooks, all that other glorious stuff that's helping you to educate more and share more of your story, right? A lot of that is going to take marketing automation to really understand which of your content is driving that revenue. Where did they go? How many pages did they visit? How do we score them? When do we introduce them to sales? Right? So the more content you have, the more you will benefit from marketing automation. because you really can't do lead scoring without dynamic information, because the email marketing, it's static, right? It is just static information of here is what happened on this day at this time with this email and this person, right? Whereas true lead scoring, right? It's that behavior. It's not just the opens and clicks, but it's, again, that journey of what happened after the email. Where did they go? What did they do? What did they touch? What did they look at? Who did they talk to? All those other things that we can really add more information, not just, oh, they're a CEO, we're going to add 10 points, and they open this email, we're going to add 10 points. No, they downloaded something, you add 50 points. They book a meeting, you add 60 points, right? You're really weighing those different measures differently because it's going to be a more qualified buyer. We
And
talked
Joy,
about this in the beginning.
did just to clarify for everyone that's here, might be a novice with this, you can actually follow people on your website and score them, right? So that's a huge behavior change where you're actually following people's journey on your website, which is kind of wild, but it all happens through cookies. So I know we'll get there with the demo, but just wanted to state that it's an amazing advancement just from straight marketing emails.
And that'll be one of the things that I'll show you in the demo too.
Love it.
So we talked a little bit about the resources you want to devote to this, right? Time and money. Budget is a big one, right? And yeah, if budget is going to be limited, and guess what? People who want to grow, it's a phrase, it's a common phrase for a reason. You got to spend money to make money. It is what it is, right? If you're not spending money, it's going to be much harder to make that money. So you can spend a little bit on email marketing and get a little bit of an ROI. Sure, definitely. And again, depending on some of those other factors, that may be your best path forward, right? If you're niche, small company, not looking to grow, don't do marketing automation, because guess what? It's going to be hard to find a good marketing automation platform for under $1,000 a month. And that there's going to be a lot of factors in that. But in reality, like if you really want a good marketing automation platform, $1,000 a month, yeah, could sound expensive, but $12,000 a year, how much are you going to hire for? Are you going to hire a person for $12,000 a year? Can you get any human to work for you for $12,000 a year that can do as much as this can do? So people always think like, oh my God, that is so much, $1,000, sometimes $2,000, $3,000 a month. Yeah, even $3,000 or $4,000 can be a lot. But guess what? Even at $4,000, we're still only talking about $48,000 for the year. The marketing automation tools often do the job of 5 employees. So yeah, at face value, when you don't understand the true benefits of a platform that can automate and why you need one or the other, it can sound expensive, but expensive compared to what? Cheaper than hiring an employee, always. So it's not just going to be, always that easy to dismiss. So if you don't have enough people, or if you do have enough people, right? If you have 10 people that you're already paying and each of them is doing something manually, I would hate to say that you would actually save money by letting go some of those people and switching to technology, because especially in this world, I don't want to say let go of people, but for revenue optimization, right? That could be another thing that a lot of companies look at seriously, right? Do we need to have 10 people doing the job that if we can have 5 people and a tool to do it automatically will do it faster, cheaper, and better? I hate
Well,
to
and
say it,
also,
but in a
Zoe,
lot of institutions,
those people could be doing profit raising things instead, right? Like I
move
spoke
those
with
people around.
yeah, like I spoke with like a renewals manager yesterday at a company that was like, I think my job might be gone in 2 years because of because of robotics. But anyway, I wanted to do something more creative anyway. And he's like such a capable person. So those people can also be repurposed into profit building jobs too.
Definitely. And that's actually a really good point. And I'm glad you brought that up, Sonia. Thank you. Because yeah, that profit, like certain things, the machinery will never be able to replace. The human interaction, the human touch, just even the joy of talking to a person that understands you, can empathize, that can sympathize, that can understand where you're coming from and say, hey, I hear you. I know it sucks to be where you're at, but it's okay. I have your back. Like no robot, machine, nothing can replace that.
Right.
And hopefully they will. So that, like, use those people, just use the content, have them to really be the brain behind it, whether it's, move them to sales, move them to, a different role. So there's always going to be benefits of having those people, but, where something is just manual and you're not using their personality as much as just their time, I think that's where probably the line is going to be. right? If you just have a body filling a seat that needs to do a task and fill time versus their own personality, they're providing value or benefits to our customers or to our organization. And all it comes down to is, do you assume or attribute revenue, right? So because again, that email automation or that email marketing is really only limited to those few touch points. So if you say, oh, they open an email and then 6 months later they bought, you're assuming that revenue. You're saying, oh, well, they saw my email. Of course it was because of that. Why else would they buy if it wasn't because of this email that they clearly opened, right? But that's assuming that revenue versus attributing revenue. And I'm going to show you our attribution reporting. It's a very sophisticated way to attribute revenue across your content, your channels, all of the energy that you're putting out there and saying, yeah, hey, all of your top customers looked at these 5 pieces of content before they purchased. So guess what? You want more of those top customers. You make sure you're promoting those 5 pieces of content more than anything else and building more like it, right? That's that true insight and knowledge. So to kind of sum it up, marketing automation wins because first of all, it helps you reach the right people with the right content, right? Segmentation has a proven track record to improve open rates and conversion rates. Marketing doesn't necessarily feel like spam these days, right? There's a lot of personalization you can do. However, marketing that isn't personalized does feel like spam, right? So if all it's saying is my first name, still spamming. But if it's following a specific action that I took, then great. Yeah, help me. I requested information. You sent me information in 2 minutes. I love you. That's awesome, right? And that's really how you are able to move that conversation forward. So when you're not only seeing a part of the puzzle, you see the whole picture, you see how they're engaging across all of your channels. So then you can take that and you can understand, yep, I know where you're coming from and I know where you can go from here. Follow me, right? You're moving the conversation forward. You're making better decisions, right? You're not just sending it at one time. Yes, you can do A/B testing. Sure, you can do A/B testing to kind of get an idea of, is it gonna be better in the morning, in the afternoon? But it's not gonna change the fact that it's still gonna be when you decide, right? 2 options, whether it could be a day, morning, afternoon, but marketing automation is going to be saying, hey, me, I'm a prospect, I'm interested to learn more, I'm requesting information, I want that information, right? So it's customer centric versus company centric, and that's really where you're able to make better decisions. It's going to give you more data, more insight into which customers are most engaged, how you're sending content. So at the end of the day, when you're getting your marketing budget for next year or whatever year after that, right? Hey, I need an extra $5,000 this year because our 2 most expensive campaigns from last year were the 2 highest converting. So here you go, Mr. CFO, Ms. CFO, please give me more because I can prove the ROI and this is going to help us to generate even more, right? Marketers love HubSpot because there's so much data, which bad marketers hate HubSpot because there's no hiding. So if you're a bad marketer, you're not going to like HubSpot because there's so much data that somebody's going to notice that you're not doing your job very well. However, good marketers love HubSpot because then they can say, hey, look at how much money we drove. This was our campaign, our webinar, and yeah, sales team, you can take the credit for the final conversation. Sure, sales, take all the credit. However, they touched 20 pieces of our content before they talked to sales. We did the education, you guys close the deal, high five all around. This is true marketing and sales alignment, but that'll help you get more budget.
And also,
right?
Zoya, to support this marketing kind of talk, it helps salespeople too, because if going on that third bullet point of helps make better decisions, when you get that intelligence in the CRM of where someone's journey started and ended and where they went, the sales call is kind of like you're like a genie, like an oracle looking into the future, and you're like, oh, that's great that you're interested in this, but what about this? Because you saw as a salesperson in their HubSpot activity that they actually went to your services page as well as your product pages, and you're like, oh, that's so funny. I was thinking that too. Well, you knew because they were on that page. So we'll show you that too in the demo. But it's like a salesperson's magic bullet. Love it.
And I love that playing dumb of like, oh yeah, I just thought about you. I saw they opened my email. I saw they went on the pricing page. I'm like, oh, just calling out of the blue, no reason, really.
Oh, your timing is perfect, Zoya.
I was just on your website. Oh, you don't say. So yeah, stalkery, but also higher conversions.
Yep, psychic salesperson.
Yep. We might actually end up going a little bit. So for those that do want to catch more of the demo, we might go a little bit, might be like 75 minutes-ish. but we're almost done with this part. So yeah, helps you work smarter, not harder. So email marketing, you're doing the heavy lifting, you're pulling the reports, you're seeing what worked and what didn't. You're the ones that are taking them out of this segment, putting them in that one, right? The marketing automation, they all talk to each other. Those automated campaigns will make sure there's no redundant messaging once somebody's taken the required actions and moving them forward. And really, just as we just talked about, thank you so much, Sonia, that's a perfect lead into this one, that it helps you really prioritize that outreach, right? So the sales team, I love those emails. All of my QLs, my qualified leads, right? I get those emails every day of, hey, this person on the pricing page, this person just downloaded a free template, this person did that. Awesome. Those are the people I call first, not the ones that just open an email that was cold. And yeah, they opened it, but so what? They didn't take an action after that. They just, maybe it was an accident. So really a lot more information for the sales team so that when we are spending time to talk to people, it's with the right people. And there are statistics to back this up. So of course, we're going to share this deck, all the links in here. These were like the top 5 statistics that I pulled out, but there's so many more that really prove marketing automation is going to be the way to accelerate your growth. So 77% of marketers saw an increase in conversions after using marketing automation. That's not as impressive as businesses that implement marketing automation experience an average 451, not a typo, 451% increase in qualified leads. Truly a massive difference between email marketing. 76% of companies that implement marketing automation generate a return on their investment within the first year, right? You're accelerating that growth. Yeah, it can look like a lot at face value. Oh my God, $48,000. And that's for like a large database that we're talking about here. Yeah, $48,000 sounds like a lot, but guess what? If you have a large database and you're looking to extract more money from that database and maybe also double it, you're going to make that money back in no time. So really that's where you're going to see a lot of, like, for example, our contracts are for years, because the 6 to 12 months, like the first few months, you know, you're building your content, you're building your strategy, getting onboarded, everything set up. You're starting to see 3 to 6 months, you're starting to see the first few leads come in, right? After everything's set up, you're optimizing. 6 to 12 months is where you're starting to really see that ROI, where you're making your money back and then growing on top of that. So that's really where we're seeing that sort of trajectory. 74% of respondents said that the tech's ability to save time was the largest benefit. Does anybody else feel like time is just flying by right now, and that you blink and all of a sudden we're almost in June?
It's the only
Really,
thing
like,
that we can't buy, right? We can't buy time.
you can't get it back.
No.
It's gone. Just the last 14, 15, gone. If this was last March, I would have been saying, please, whatever you do, just fast forward to next year. And now it's next year. I'm like, oh my God, can we slow down? Like, we're going too fast, right? So if you can save time for your employees, have them take a Friday off. You know that the campaigns are going to go out. Have them enjoy the summer. They were stuck inside for the last year, right? It's going to make such a big difference for the happiness of your employees, not to mention the fact that, yes, your customers are a very important asset, almost as if not a little bit less important than your employees, because it's very hard to keep customers happy if your employees aren't happy and keeping those customers engaged, right? So your products really are your external and internal as well. And the last one, 86% of marketers consider ease of use to be the most important factor in evaluating tools, which is where we'll be going into the HubSpot part of today. So to kind of close the loop from where we were in the beginning, as we're moving a little bit more into the demo portion here, it's going to be a quick generic demo, so maybe only 15 minutes after the top of the hour if you would like to hang on for the rest of this. So we saw this kind of journey in the beginning, right? And so we're hitting our 15-year anniversary. We had over 100,000 customers last year. We're very excited about this. And so in looking at all of our customer data, we were able to really understand, you know, what makes companies grow. And so we untangled a lot of this complexity and challenges that teams face when it comes to their buyer experiences, right? And we pull out these 5 core elements that help make your experience engines run, right? So disrupting that customer experience, what does that entail, right? And it's you know, we need earth, fire, water, whatever, people. Your businesses need the content to reach the people who are unaware that you exist. You need the messaging to start that right conversation. The automation streamlines that process. The reporting and the insight understands or helps you understand what works and what doesn't work. And of course, all that underlying layer of data to help you to really optimize accordingly. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, sure. And a lot of different ways can work for you. And there's a lot of going to be different point solutions. And maybe some of you have some kind of view like this. But where HubSpot is built a little differently is that we are a crafted platform. We're not cobbled together. And what I mean by that is everything is built from the ground up. It's not going to be like, oh, an aggressive acquisition strategy like Salesforce, no offense, a very aggressive acquisition strategy. All the UX and UI is completely disparate, right? It's not a unified user experience, but in HubSpot, we understood these 5 core elements, right? And we took those critical core elements that any company needs, whether you're a startup, scale up, enterprise, right? And we handcrafted them into this unified code base with your buyer's experience at the center of everything. So everything that you're doing is driven around what your customers are engaging. How can we help you extract more value, understand what's going on, and how can you help them make progress and help them to buy more from you? So what I'm going to, and today I'm only going to show you just a very, very little bit of the marketing portion. So that's what we really looked at today. So kind of show you a little bit more of that journey. And so where we're looking at all these core elements, really what HubSpot as our platform, and we are now that CRM platform. So everything that you need for true customer relationship management. And I'm not talking sales tools. Sales tools are separate, right? Sales enablement is separate. Customer relationship management is the backbone of your organization. Sales is a part of it, but so is marketing, so is customer support, so is your website, right? That's your customer relationship management. It's managing the relationship of your customer, which is everybody, right? So if you're looking at, or when we're going into HubSpot here, you're going to see a single source of truth that's going to make it easy for your teams to align, right? So getting rid of some of the silos, we have 5 different hubs now. We have marketing, sales, service, CMS, and operations hub. So bring as much of your team into the same source of truth as possible. So they're really leveraging all this great data to grow better. One, intuitive UX makes it very easy to adopt, and the unified code base makes it easy to adapt. So even extending it to other platforms, doing some custom workflows and integrations wherever you need to, all part of the awesome HubSpot experience. So without further ado, let's jump into a quick little demo. So to kind of introduce for those that haven't seen HubSpot, we have 4 different record types in HubSpot, right? And these are kind of your data building tools, right? 4 record types out of the box: contacts, companies, deals, tickets. You can now create, so we have custom objects. You can create your own, if you have subscriptions or memberships or certain product types, drones, whatever, you can create your own product record types. But essentially, they're all going to be broken into these 3 same sections. So as we're moving through, you'll notice all the tools, same code base, same UX, UI. Once you learn how to use a contact record, company record is going to be the exact same thing. So is a deal record. It's going to be just different information, but your experience in ramping up is going to be much easier with this sort of layout. So just to quickly sum it up, on the left is all of your relevant information, right? So all the form submissions, your imports, whatever else you're collecting, you're tracking all those data points. And what I personally love about this is the company, like our marketing team, is probably tracking a lot more than what I want to see, but I only have like my top 10 favorite properties that I put into my view. So there's a lot of flexibility in being able to tweak the system so it's helping your individual reps do their jobs better instead of changing what your reps are doing to help the system do better for your management, right? That's not how you're going to get a winning team. You don't say, hey, do this for me so I can do better. It's, hey, get me a tool that will help me do my job better. Why else did you hire me if it's not for me to do what I do best? Give me something that will help me with that, right? So that's on the left. In the middle is all of your activity. So this is all the history that Martha here has taken, all the paid ads she saw, the social media campaigns that she engaged with, the marketing emails, the form submissions, everything that she's done, every conversation she's had with me or anybody on my team. I can see here, I can sort, filter, pull out whatever I need to that when I'm calling her. I can know exactly, hey, Martha, here's what we're going to be talking about. Thank you so much for visiting our website. How can I help you today? And then lastly, here on the right, you have all the associated records. So again, central source of truth. Not only do I see all of her behavior and her contact information, but also her company. And we do actually have a lot of AI that will help you to automatically create company records based off of email addresses. We'll populate that with whatever publicly available information there is, associate other people. So we help you kind of skip a few steps so you're not, work smarter, not harder. That's really what we're leading towards. All the past purchase history, any customer support, and then of course, all the other integrations, documents, any other things that you're tracking. So at a high level, here's sort of what a customer card or a record looks like. A lot of different ways you can engage with that. So when we're looking at marketing automation, right? So, I mean, I can show you, did I even have a, I could show you how to build an email, but I think all of us have seen a drag and drop editor, right? I mean, it's straightforward. You can do the coding, you can do the drag and drop. If you've used any sort of thing, you get the idea. So what I'd rather show you is how we're different. So how having this backbone of your data really helps you to make those better decisions. So first of all, in keeping everything organized, right? So having marketing automation means, yes, you're going to be having all sorts of channels, all sorts of things going out. So having a visualization where, hey, if I need to be able to write up a quick LinkedIn post, you can do that from right within HubSpot and actually schedule your social posts. You can then come back in here and see, here's all of my email campaigns, my social campaigns. So I'm tracking everything. Anything that I want to manage, I can come back and do here as well. So it gives me that one central place where I can stay on top of all these activities that are helping me be more efficient on the day-to-day. And we actually did also recently introduce marketing tasks. So your marketing teams can also have their tasks, their to-dos for the day. So to show you what, I'm going to show you a landing page, right? So email tools, they're going to be the same. You're going to have all these same building blocks, just going to look like an email, not a landing page. But where I really wanted to show some of these differences around what that true personalization looks like, right? And not just the ease of use. And I'm not a coder. I have a degree in marketing, but I never actually used marketing automation tools before I came to HubSpot. And so it took me 2 weeks to figure this out, and I kind of had to. I mean, our first 3 weeks on the job, we were given a whole platform, and they're like, well, if you want to keep your job, do a demonstration, right? Learn everything, set up your own portal, start a fake company, build out all your content. I did everything in 3 weeks just by following, watching the videos, looking at some directions, very, very intuitive. But what I love about this is just how it really understands if what we're doing, like, I don't want to do more effort. Like if I need to change a form, I don't have to go to a different place to change any fields. I just say, hey, you know what, actually in this one, I'm just gonna, in this particular form, I did want to actually ask for your birthday. So yeah, I'm gonna just edit this form, add in birthday right there. I'm good. All right, I don't have to go anywhere else. That's done. Right? If I want to have my GDPR restrictions. Oh, and you know what? I do actually want them to get a thank you email after this too. So I'm just going to thank you for email. If you have questions, let me know. Right? I can pull in their personalization token, so I can actually call them by their first name. Right?
Or
And I can
really
say, hey,
anything in their CRM record at all, right? Like anything.
Yeah. Anything at all. Any
Love
piece
it.
of data that we're collecting, you can personalize around. So it's
Yeah.
really cool, right? All this from one place. And then, hey, do I want to create a new contact with some? I haven't left the page. I'm still here. Do I want to create a new contact? Do I want to save them as a marketing contact? Do I want to add them to automation? Am I just going to say, hey, you filled out this form for a webinar. I'm going to put you down this workflow so that you're getting all the emails and the events and the content around this workflow.
And maybe
Right? And then
schedule someone to call them too. Like if it's an immediate, right? Goes into their CRM task and it's all one. Love it.
Yep. Show you one other really cool thing. So this is both for your emails, for your landing pages, for your blogs. You can apply this to your CTAs, your forms, and content. It's called Smart Rules. So dynamic content, you can actually change the experience somebody has on your site based on some information we know about them. Could be based on just what country, right? So if they're coming from a different country, maybe we're going to have a completely different language come up and welcome them in their own language, right? If they're on mobile, maybe we're going to have a different design of the site, right? Referral source, preferred languages, especially when you're looking at contact list membership and contact lifecycle stage. That's the difference between if I have a form for a, so for example, for all my influencers, right? All my influencers are going to get a completely different form. And I'm actually going to change that out for my influencers versus for, so we're going to choose a form. We're going to change the form to events form. So now my influencers are going to see this, and it could be just, I want more information from, maybe I want more information from my prospects versus my customers. Maybe for my existing customers, I just want completely different information. Hey, we've been working together for a year. Maybe I want your job title, the size of your company, some other details, right? So you can start to change all of those experiences based on what we know about them. And even to take it a step further, there's also optimization tips in here too, because hey, there's not throwing spaghetti at a wall. There's science behind this. There's a lot of knowledge and education behind this. And we actually have a lot of tools or a lot of guidance in the tool itself. So hey, when you're building this out, yes, put in the work to build the landing page. It's going to convert, but we want to make sure you have a page title because that's actually going to hurt your ranking on SEO on Google. So make sure you have your title. Make sure you're mentioning coffee. So we're going to call out all these things that could be missing or hurting your actual performance, as well as actually giving you suggestions on what else to write about in the tool. So there's a whole like SEO web map that you can build around your core topic, and then have additional, like, hey, you're writing around coffee, you should also write about the right coffee, caffeinated coffee, unfiltered coffee, right? All those different ways that people could be searching that will help you increase your authority so more people are finding you naturally online.
So
So
it's like an
all those ways.
SEO, it's like an SEO tutorial kind of helper, like it does it for you, right? Yeah, love it.
And on top of it, do testing, right? So you have A/B testing at Pro, and at Enterprise, we have adaptive testing. So it's actually 5 variations of a landing page. There's a really, really great example from like way back in the Obama campaigns that they actually had, they were the first ones to kind of do sort of adaptive testing, and found that just in having, I think it was like a blue button versus a red button, that the conversions were so much higher on the blue button than the red. Like, it's such a tiny difference sometimes that can make all the difference when it comes to your conversions, whether it's the language that you're using, the color that you're using, where you're putting it, right? Have the robots, you kind of have, here's the few ideas, and then they can help guide around where to send the traffic. So a big question that comes up is, how hard is this to do, right? If any of you have used Pardot, Salesforce, Marketo, any of those, they're challenging. They have a lot of power, but they need a little bit more education as well to be able to use those. So in HubSpot, so we have a lot of things that come out of the box that you can start with, and you can build anything from scratch. I'll show you kind of just how easy it is to build a workflow, and I'll show you a completed one. So you see that it's, you can now that we have Operations Hub, you can code your own actions, and you can automate anything that you can dream of, which is really, really cool. Because if you're using your own custom ERP and you want to, whether it's enriching HubSpot or pulling data into HubSpot, anything like that, you can build your own automations, but you also don't have to. A lot of this is going to be just building blocks here. So basically the goal of a workflow is you have your exit criteria, what's the goal, and then you have your entrance criteria, who specifically is going down this path. So your enrollment triggers can be as broad or as granular as you really need them to be, right? It can be just all CFOs in Southern California are going to go down this path. But I could also say all CFOs in Southern California at a company with at least 25 employees that have been to our website in the last 5 months at least twice. Those are the people who are going down this journey, right? Have or haven't open emails, is or is not known. So about any sort of logical variation, and again, any sort of data that we're collecting, right? Is ever, is none of, is equal to, is less than. Any way that you can think logically around how we can narrow down a segment. We have people with millions of contacts, millions and millions of contacts, that are narrowing down these minute little segments, and then sending them down very specific paths, because segmentation is going to drastically increase your conversions for anything you're doing. So, right, delaying, so setting all these building blocks. You want to send an email, I can do that here. Oh, this is new. You can now enroll in a sequence. That's new. Sorry, literally the first time I've seen this now. That's so exciting. Because yeah, so now they go through that, you can enroll them in a sequence and put them down a sales path. Rotate them to different contact owners, retarget your campaign. So if you look at how all this then can look when it's done, right? So in this particular case, they filled out a form and they saw this page, right? So now we're going to update their lifecycle stage to an MQL. We're going to wait a day. We're going to send them some nurtures. We're going to keep nurture. We're going to invite them to a webinar. And then based on an action that they take, right? And you can have up to 5 variations on this branch, if A, but not B, but not C, right? All those variations. Then you can start to kind of divvy them up a little bit and say, okay, well, you are going to go down this path. You're going to go down this path. Everything's going to be hyper relevant. And if people aren't engaged still, great, we're going to just take you out. We don't want to bug you. You're not opening our emails. Sorry, we'll leave you alone. Back burner, take them out. Versus people who do engage, and sometimes it'll take a little bit more, right? Maybe they're going to get another completely separate email campaign. And then once they convert, we're going to put them down and introduce them to sales, right? So this is that true marketing automation where it's not just, oh, they opened an email. Cool. So what? They opened an email. How many times did they open the email? Did they read the whole email? Did they go to your website after that email? Did they download anything, right? Because if I open an email and a salesperson is calling me and I have not taken any other action, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. I didn't even mean to open the email. I pushed the button on accident. I'm not here on purpose, right? But if I've taken multiple actions, then yeah, definitely, I want you to call me. And if you do, you're probably saving me time, because then you can help me just tell me what I need to know instead of leaving me on my own to figure it out with all of your content. A lot of people need that extra help, right? So we're really automating that and then just continuing moving them down. So these workflows can really be as complex or as simple as you need them to be. It could be 1, 2, if this, then that, or that whole kind of view. And then bringing it all together, right? So if we're looking at total, that ROI, right? Attributing revenue, not assuming revenue. Big difference there. So if we want to truly attribute revenue, we're looking at everything that we're doing, and there's going to be really easy, you know, when you're sending landing page, there's just going to be a little, like how we saw on the left, all the little drop downs, just associate to this campaign, right? Email, associate to this campaign. So you can start to build these campaigns of like, hey, we're promoting for our big upcoming webinar, right? Here's all the landing pages, the social campaigns, all these different things that we're putting together to promote this campaign. So now you're tracking all your blogs, your social posts, your calls to action, everything that's associated with this. This is our demo portal. So sorry, it's a little empty on the data here. But even your workflows, right? So you're getting all of this in one centralized view. So you truly understand, is what you're doing a good, not a good waste of time, but a good use of your time, right? Is this going to be worth it in the end? And then actually, is it driving that ROI? So your influenced contacts, your touches, your closed deals, and even your attributed revenue. So to wrap this all up nicely in a little bow with more data, because I love data. I'm a nerd. I like data. So if you're using something like Google Analytics, right? Google Analytics is great at giving you a high-level aggregated view of here's a general summary of how much revenue came from this one particular source. Because we're able to see so much more data and we're able to see that whole journey, and we're also tied into your database, whether or not, like, you can still use another CRM and use HubSpot. So just because we have the CRM that's just the backbone and you can't walk away from it no matter what you're using, you can still use Salesforce. We have a great integration with Salesforce. We now have a dynamic Microsoft Dynamics native sync, which is also brand new that I'm very excited about. So we have tons of other options that if you do have even your own homegrown CRM, like, use your CRMs. It's fine. We're not making you replace everything. We just want to give you more insight into what you do have. So for example, when you have this sort of view, so we see, first of all, so it's just social example here, right? So I see how many new sessions I have and the new contacts, right? These aren't customers. These are how many qualified leads did I get from this source, right? And so these two conversion points are going to be unique to HubSpot, this session to contact rate and contact to customer rate. So you're giving us two very important qualification metrics that then we can do our campaigns around. Because guess what? If I look at face value and just say, oh, hey, Twitter, take all my money. You have the most sessions, the most customers, the most new contact, you win. However, if we go down here, what was it? Google Plus has actually really great conversions. Look at these conversions on YouTube, 2.1%. Quora has 2.13%. These little engines that could are actually performing better. The audience is more qualified. The conversion rates are higher. I'm not spending enough money on these channels. And then I can click in and I can see, like, here's all of the customers that came from this particular source, right? I can see their whole history on their contact records. So if I want more detail, that's there. But at first value, here's the source, the first conversion, the date, the recent conversion, right? So it's giving me that information. It's not just that email that they opened and then they bought 6 months later. No, they opened an email and then they took these other actions. And this is why I know this is a great lead or a great customer, and I can, you know, follow the story, build a use case study, and then keep growing. So all in all, you're going to get a lot more data when it comes to HubSpot. And the best news is you don't have to build these reports per se. You can. There's a custom report builder. It's got a brand new interface. It's really, really slick. And you can build all your own reports if you really want to. But we have over 100 out of the box reports for you to choose from. We even have a dashboard library that you can walk in and say, hey, it's my first day on the job. I just want to see an ABM dashboard, or I want to see an attribution dashboard. Here's all of the reports associated with that dashboard. Couple clicks, you have your whole dashboard. You choose who it's shared with. You can have all of your emails, you know, the cadence going to your team, going to your stakeholders, your investors, your boss, whoever, to see, hey, look at how awesome I'm doing. Look at these marketing, look at how much revenue I've driven to the company. Look at all these new contacts. That's all me, right? I'm your marketing team. I've built this. Look at my top landing pages. We had 531 people came from this landing page. We have, look at all these awesome forms, our email rates, right? Like, I'm killing it. Our ads, like, I want my boss to see this. I want to get that raise. I want to get more budget, and I don't want him to, you know, give me any grief next time I'm asking for more money, because I can prove that, hey, yeah, you didn't want to give me a week to build that ebook, but that ebook drove us $6 million. Do you still want to tell me not to build another ebook? Right? Revenue by channel. I love this one. Revenue by content type, right? So all of your, so yeah, email marketing, a part of it, sure. It's a tiny part of it. It's one piece of the puzzle. It's not enough to really be able to grow in a sophisticated manner in a faster way, right? In a more, at the end of the day, it's going to be more cost efficient. Yeah, it may be more expensive at base value, but it's going to help you save time or money somewhere else, whether it's consolidating other tools, the hourly rates that you're paying your grunts to do this manually, right? All those things that at the end of the day, the ROI is always going to be better with the marketing automation. So then you can have things like this, right? Here's all the content viewed before a closed deal.
Well,
What
and Zoya,
marketing
like completely impossible before to attribute revenue to the closed deals, like with the marketing that got us there to the closed deals. If the CRM and the automation system are disparate, it is hard to track those things together. And like multi revenue attribution is incredible, because like this is a huge thing in our business, because we do a lot of webinars, but it might be the webinar might have been in their journey, but it wasn't the thing that they entered from or closed from, but it helped get them there. And so just like you're saying, if it was part of the journey, we get credit for that. And it shows, yes, we do need to keep doing webinars. It's just such a revealing tool.
And you can get your first touch, last touch, all the variations around that. And so I will just say that the multi-touch revenue attribution is also going to be marketing enterprise. So you know,
right.
So there's contact attribution at pro. So this sort of attribution is available at professional. For revenue, multi-touch revenue attribution, that's going to be an enterprise level feature.
Got it.
So why did it sign in? And that's it. I mean, basically from here, we'll open it up to questions. Hopefully that was, I'm sorry, I went a little bit over after all that. But hopefully everybody got some good tips.
Absolutely. So I just, a little selfish comment here, when I started at BrainSell 12 years ago, which I can't believe it's been that long, I discovered HubSpot and started using it. And I was 23 out of college, had never even done like a mass email marketing campaign before. And I learned HubSpot by myself with no help.
So did I.
As a 23-year-old, that was 12 years ago. So like the concept was so foreign at the time, but the tool is so easy to use that it was not a barrier. And then it's just been up from there. So yes, and all, like, this is incredible. It's the best training I've seen.
Yeah, that's one of the other biggest differentiators about HubSpot is the support, the training that we have. Our academy is free. All of you today, whether or not you're HubSpot customers, you can go to academy.hubspot.com and learn about business analytics. That has nothing to do with HubSpot, just business. Build it. So some of them are going to be more HubSpot specific and others aren't going to be related to HubSpot at all. We just want you to know how to grow better. So all this stuff is here. We really take that growth seriously, and we take it upon ourselves to make sure that we're guiding you, we're supporting you, we're helping you to make progress on your own journey in your own growth. And our partners like BrainSell are huge parts in that as well. Because for anybody that's concerned about how much is this going to take to get off the ground, how hard is this, how fast can we do it, that's exactly what we have partners like BrainSell here for, to help with, right? They can help with migrations, with integrations. I had any weird software that I'm like, I've never heard of this. I asked someone, hey, have you heard of this weird software that somebody wants to integrate with? 9 times out of 10, it's a yes. And the 1 time out of 10 that it's a no, it's a not yet, but we can. So that's really where we love our partners.
Thank you, Zoya. No, we are obsessed with connecting things and making things easier. Like, you know, I started doing 12 years ago here. So this is what we want to bring to you guys, not a sales pitch, but if you want to do a marketing strategy review, more than happy to do it. I did one with one of our accounting customers who runs a blueberry company in Northern Maine. And we had that same conversation that we started with in the beginning, Zoya, like, well, do you want more customers? They go, no, we only have so many blueberries. We literally can't have more customers. I'm like, you guys are probably good where you are. You know, you're good there then. Probably a good idea to just.
That's actually a really good point that I totally forgot about. It's not just the like the blueberries, but if you can't go outside your state, even like if you're limited geographically, then you don't necessarily need marketing automation, because then that could go beyond your small town that you're trying to service just locally.
Exactly. So email us at growth@brainsell.net. And we're happy to share our journey with you and help you come up with some marketing ideas. You have the blueberry example. Hey, we're the first ones to say you guys are doing a great job. You know, call me in 5 years if you buy more blueberry fields. So, but we love to watch businesses grow. And also look at our podcast. We've got a growth enablement podcast, which I'm really proud of. Jim Ward, our CEO, runs it. And the latest episode is growth for growth's sake. Because sometimes when you grow your business but not your profitability, what the heck are you doing? Right? And that kind of ties into what Zoe was talking about in the beginning. Why are we going to grow just to grow, but we're not actually offering any more profitability to the company? And growth can be dangerous too if you're not able to scale with it, right? So all about it. Everyone, thank you so much for your attention all day. And Zoya, like, thank you. Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. And what's our next one? Because we're doing a whole series of these. So for those that don't know, there's going to be more. We're
Yep.
doing these on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Was it the third Thursday of every month?
Third Thursday.
What's our next topic? I don't remember.
We'll send you one out over email. Caitlin, my co-host in the background, pipe us if you have that information at your fingertips, but we'll definitely, with the recording today and the slide deck that we'll be sending you via email, we'll also be inviting you to the next webinar.
Yeah. So, and if there's any requests, if there's anything that you want to learn more about, then let us know. Like, hey, here's a topic I've always been curious about.
Yeah, and June 17th.
We'll have a lot of, oh, great, June 17th. And I don't know if we have to narrow that down. But
absolutely. June 17th, would love to see you there. But Zoya, again, thank you for your time today, and love me some HubSpot. Thank you.
Anytime, friends. Have a wonderful day. We'll be here when you need us. Take care. Be safe. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.